The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
It was a violent weekend in the Alamo City, including the targeted killing of a man inside North Star Mall. San Antonio police are beginning a new week with a new series of shootings to investigate.
And some of those cases investigators are now looking into involve just teenagers. Our Jonathan Cotto joins us live and takes us through those events as they happen, Jonathan, and what police say could be a root cause to all this violence.
That's right, Steve. We are outside of Public Safety Headquarters where Chief William McManus held a press conference detailing some of these shootings that happened over a very busy weekend. And he details some very important updates in this story ahead.
A particularly violent weekend had San Antonio police responding to several shootings.
5100 Eisenhower on Friday, June 2. At 2:10 p.m. 4 victims, 3 transported in critical condition, 1 later pronounced that person was a 16-year-old.
That fatal shooting, Chief McManus says, started at Roosevelt High School weeks prior.
It was a fight. This was paybacks. And this was not the first attempt to get to the individual that they were targeting.
The next day, another shooting. This one happening on the 1500 block of Upland around 12:45 in the afternoon.
3 victims, 1 DOA, 18 years old, 2 transported in critical condition.
Shots were fired inside a barbershop at North Star Mall, this time involving a 33-year-old man who has been identified as Adam Glass.
Surveillance video captured 2 unknown suspects getting dropped off and entering the barbershop.
Police say one suspect was wearing a black hoodie and light-colored shorts, the other a black hoodie and dark-colored pants, both managing to get away.
There's other information that will be useful to us, but again, I can't put that information out right now.
The uptick in gun violence involving young people is something SAPD Chief William McManus says is a complex issue not unique to San Antonio.
There's a lot of issues right now that I think are causing gun violence throughout this country. One of them, obviously, is the access to firearms.
McManus says all these shootings have been targeted events and did mention that there may be some relationship between 2 of the shootings, but did not detail which ones could be connected.
Now, in an effort of addressing a possible solution, McManus mentions accountability. He says every person who has committed a violent crime should be in jail. He says they've made arrests where a person is then let out on several bonds and then put on probation. Later, they are arrested again, let out on a bond, and then probation is not revoked. He says that's an issue for the department and also a danger to our community. Reporting outside of Public Safety Headquarters, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Part of that violence this weekend led to the death of a young man on the east side, and today we learned more about who he was. 18-year-old Jeremiah Hardiman died after a shootout in the 1500 block of Upland Road. Police said he was not the intended target. Hardiman just graduated from the George Gervin Academy on May 27th, and leaders at the Gervin Academy tell us they're heartbroken and that Hardiman just had a job interview this week. The Gervin Academy and other organizations like the Boys and Girls Club are trying to get the message out about keeping teens safe this summer now that school is out.
It's about getting these students engaged, active, making sure they feel a sense of belonging to the community, to our school, and making sure they're active.
Just a critical time for kids to be, unsupervised, to be left at home, to kind of do what they want to do with their day. And so families really rely on affordable programming.
The Boys and Girls Club has several summer programs for kids of all ages, and the Gervin Academy has more than 200 students enrolled in summer school.
Months after being denied a new trial, a victory today for convicted felon Michelle Barrientos Vela. A judge affirmed the star witness in her case violated a court order during his testimony late last summer. As KSAT's Dylan Collier reports, the contempt ruling further opens the door for the ex-constable to get her conviction overturned on appeal.
Official oppression. It was that phrase uttered by Texas Ranger Bradley Freeman on the witness stand more than 9 months ago that has continued to hound his professional life. For the second time since late November, A judge has ruled Freeman in contempt of court, that him mentioning charges against Michelle Barrientos Vela that were not part of her tampering with records trial was a willful and flagrant disregard of the court's order.
You're a freaking Texas Ranger. You set the bar. You set the standard.
Visiting Judge Kevin O'Connell's criticism didn't end with Freeman, as the judge slammed the lead prosecutor who had asked the Ranger the question, Dawn McCraw, alluding that she too would have been held in contempt had he been the judge overseeing the original trial.
That was either the most inartful question ever asked to a trial witness, or it was intentional.
Attorney Robert Switzer, appointed by the state to defend Judge Velia Mesa's original contempt ruling, called Ranger Freeman's actions a gift-wrapped error that will almost certainly help the ex-constable's attempts to overturn her felony convictions.
Addressing an offense that the defendant is not on trial for, that's hard to unring that bell.
Freeman, who was fined $500, quickly left court at the conclusion of today's hearing.
The appeal of Barrientos Vela, which will most likely be impacted by today's ruling, is expected to be formally filed early next year. At the Bexar County Justice Center, Dylan Collier, KSAT 12 News.
Barrientos Vela remains on probation through early 2028. She's also been sentenced to 90 days in jail, but is free while her case is on appeal.
The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office has identified a man who was killed by San Antonio police nearly 2 weeks ago. 2 San Antonio police officers shot and killed 42-year-old Arturo Fuentes after they say he pointed his gun at them. That shooting happened after police responded to reports of shots being fired near Sonora and Nagalito Street on the night of May 27th. Officers shot Fuentes 4 times. He was taken to a hospital where he died. Well, despite fears of a recession that lingered for months, it appears the U.S. labor market is doing well right now. In fact, payrolls in the public and private sector increased by 339,000 last month. But what about in San Antonio? Max Massey spoke with local employers, some job seekers, and Workforce Solutions Alamo to get a local evaluation.
I'm just looking for a job, and they're helping me out, with finding employment, and they're helping me out, with resources that they have.
Meet Tracy Lopez. Like more than 40,000 people in our community, she's looking for a job. The latest job numbers show that more than 43,000 locals are seeking meaningful employment. That might seem like a lot, but consider we have a total labor force of more than 1.2 million. Overall, our local labor market is strong. In fact, the CEO of Workforce Solutions Alamo tells me we are the strongest we've been in years.
Today we sit about 3.4% unemployment, which is actually lower than the state's 3.7% unemployment. So we're doing really, really well. Over the course of from like April of 2022 to April of 2023, at about 44,000 jobs.
And it's not just the unemployment numbers that look good. There's also improved job creation.
We're below pre-pandemic levels, right? It's great indicator. Great job growth, 44,000 new jobs. Great increase in labor force, 43,000 people new into the labor force.
And Adrian Lopez tells me regardless of the different 11 sectors that they track, they've seen positive job growth across the board. The thing is, there are local employers who are still looking to fill a good amount of positions.
Ana Maria Garza Cortez with Centro Med says they're actively looking for employees.
We have been struggling with the labor market ever since the pandemic. So we're finding more families or individuals that are applying for jobs but are having a hard time wanting to work in the clinics.
And she added that a big obstacle is people wanting to only work virtually from home. So really, that leaves the door open for others who are looking for jobs across San Antonio.
Our medical assistant positions are starting at $17.50 an hour, which is a good salary for a medical assistant to start off in.
If you are looking for a job or looking to fill positions, we have resources right now on KSAT.com. Max Massey, KSAT 12 News.
A woman is dead. 4 members of her family recovering following a shooting in Sunnydale. According to police, the family sitting in their car yesterday when a man and woman got out of their car, walked up to the families, opened fire. The woman died on the scene. A man and 3 children, ages 8 to 10, taken to the hospital. They're expected to be okay. At this time, the shooters have not been caught and a motive is unknown.
Look outside with live cam. Kind of an interesting afternoon weather-wise. Sunshine in one spot, and we've seen lightning and raindrops just around the corner, Adam.
And I'm actually tracking an outflow boundary that's headed our way. This outflow boundary is kicking up some new thunder shower activity. Here's your Weather Authority radar, and I'll put it into motion over the past hour. Most of the action is east of town. That's where it's been the heaviest. But these outflow boundaries are coming together. See these green lines? Those are the winds kicked out from other thunderstorms, and sometimes they collide and generate new storms, just like what we have here in Gonzales County, just south of Gonzales. It's heavy rainfall, lightning and thunder, but nothing severe associated with this. No hail within there, and just some wind gusts, maybe up to 40 miles per hour. But I'm watching this new outflow boundary as it's headed into northeast Bexar County. That's hitting the Schertz area, right along I-10 and just north of I-10 in Converse, and that's passing right over Randolph Air Force Base, basically. And this outflow boundary is going to continue to track to the southwest through town and possibly kickstart a few more showers. So that's what we're watching locally here just over the next hour to hour and a half. Storm chances really fall apart as we get after sunset. We'll talk more about the forecast, more rain chances, see how much rain has fallen in these areas, and turning up the heat a little.
.281 at 410, and just an hour ago, traffic backed up here big time. It's kind of cleared out a little bit. Very nice view. Not all that normal for this time of day. Usually there's still a backup at 281 and Loop 410.
Of the G7, the top 7 economies in the world, none of them but us have a debt ceiling.
Today was the day the U.S. was set to run out of money to pay its debts if lawmakers hadn't reached that deal late last week. Coming up in KSAT Explains, we break down the purpose of the debt ceiling, where it came from, and why it's not the same as a spending limit. KSAT Explains is coming up at 6:30.
Here's a look at what we're working on for you on the Night Beat. Shooting call after shooting call this weekend, and it's all happening right as Gun Violence Awareness Month begins. Tonight, a local group and its message to the community as it calls for an end to gun violence. That and more on the Night Beat at 10.
A serious shortage of chemotherapy drugs is forcing the FDA to get help from other countries. This weekend, the FDA confirmed it was working with China and Canada to help relieve this shortage.
And while locally, Mays Cancer Center patients have not been affected yet, Courtney Freeman reports doctors there already preparing protocols if the shortage continues.
There are currently 11 chemotherapy drugs with shortages in the U.S. The main one, cisplatin, is used for over 10 types of cancer.
We use it in gynecologic malignancies, we use it in thoracic malignancies, and genitourinary malignancies. It's very common.
Dr. Mark Bonin with UT Health San Antonio's Mays Cancer Center confirms the general shortages are caused by labor and supply chain issues, and mainly the lack of suppliers, since companies aren't making money off the cheaper generic drugs.
Cisplatin is the drug that we've been most worried about in the recent month or so.
That's because in March, the lab in India that makes 50% of the U.S. supply was shut down for quality assurance failures.
We had been very lucky. Our supplier had continued to supply us pretty regularly until last week. And last week, they initiated a new way of ordering the drug, which actually required us to order it for a specific patient with a specific diagnosis.
The Mays Cancer Center can no longer order the drug in bulk like it used to, but patients have not been affected yet, unlike many other centers nationwide.
How often is it that there is an alternative for cisplatin for your patients?
So the two areas where there really is no alternative right now is in bladder and testicular cancer.
Other centers across the country have already resorted to short-term fixes.
There's rounding down, so they're rounding the dose downward to preserve the supply, not have to open an additional vial.
Some are extending time between doses.
Hopefully in the next few days, we won't have to resort to that.
The FDA says a Chinese company will send cisplatin to the U.S. and a Canadian pharmaceutical company will distribute it. Doctors should be able to start ordering tomorrow. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
Now, Dr. Bonnet agrees with doctors across the country that the long-term solution is creating legislation that incentivizes or pushes more drug companies to produce and supply these generic cancer drugs. So there's no global reliance on just one or two suppliers.
Let's turn to the forecast now. Adam, you are watching some thunder showers that are out there on the radar as we speak.
Yeah, some downpours. Isolated to widely separated is what we have out there. And let's take a look at our rain chances here the rest of this evening. It's highest right now. After sunset, our storm chances really fall off. Sunset, by the way, 8:31 p.m. Notice by 9 p.m. a 20% chance. Then by 10 o'clock, we're at a 10% chance. Here's a look at radar, your Weather Authority radar, and you see it's widely separated in nature. Some lightning and thunder, of course, associated with some of these cells out there. But the most lit up activity has been Gonzales County and northern DeWitt County, western Lavaca County. Look at over the past hour, some of the heaviest rainfall here east of town and still ongoing. And these are slowly pushing southward. And a lot of this, a lot of what's causing this, these outflow boundaries that are coming together. Here's another outflow boundary coming together not far from Sutherland Springs and Stockdale. And I anticipate this, even Lavernia, another outflow coming in. This has a history of developing new showers and thunderstorms. So this is where I expect the development to be next in northern Wilson County. But in Bexar County, this really just popped up over the past 30 minutes or so, this downpour here right along I-10. Now it's stretching southward from Converse down through I-10, Zool as well. This could have some pea-sized hail associated with it. Don't be surprised if you see that. But right now we're not looking at anything damaging within that shower. The whole outflow boundary, though, you see this green line? This green line right here that's stretching from Kendall County, Comfort basically, to Bulverde, all the way down to Windcrest and then eastward to Sutherland Springs. That's headed to the southeast, and that's going to continue to move through town and give us the chance to develop new showers. So, for example, that's going to make it to UTSA at 7:11 p.m. It's not guaranteed to pop a new shower, but it very well could. It's also going to make it to Elmendorf, that outflow boundary, at 6:56 p.m. And again, once that outflow boundary hits, you could very well have the downpour develop. Here's a look at the rainfall totals. The green indicates a minimum of half an inch. The yellow is 2 inches and higher, and that's the higher accumulations are out east of San Antonio. Locally, we've just had some little pockets of a half inch here and there, especially on the south and southeast side of town there on I-37 and 1604. So that's what we're looking at right now. Again, the rain basically just through midnight, through sunset, and then later on tonight, the sky's going to clear out. A little bit of a swirl in the upper levels above us, and that's helping to kickstart some of these showers. Tomorrow afternoon, 30% chance. Wednesday, we're down to a 20% chance, and this is all afternoon activity. And then we get into Friday night, early Saturday, another 20% chance. But notice how we actually have a few breaks from those daily storm chances. Thursday and Friday, just looking sunny. Sunday, Monday right now, just looking sunny as well. You can tell where it's raining just by looking at temperatures. 73 Gonzales, 77 New Braunfels. Even if you get that outflow boundary, you could drop down into the 70s. Meanwhile, Del Rio 93, but not far away in Uvalde, 73 degrees. So a mixture of temperatures out there. Tomorrow we start the day at 68. By noon we're up to 81, then a high temperature of 87, and there's that isolated thunderstorm activity later on in the day. We'll make it to 86 in Rio and Medina. Nixon, Smiley making it to 88. But then notice how we warm up a bit. 92 on Thursday. By Friday, we're in the mid-90s, and it looks like we're going to stay about within that range through the weekend.
We're creeping up there. Thanks, Adam.
All right, well, there is a local state team that's still in the hunt when it comes for a baseball state title. Larry joins us now.
Yeah, the champion Chargers. And what's been remarkable about their run is they lost game one in the regional semis and then game one in the regional finals. So they faced back-to-back elimination games in 2 straight series, and now they are state-bound, the Chargers. How awesome is that? Plus, Natasha Benavidez is leaving Jefferson High School. Coming up.
When it's a one game, I mean, there's a little more pressure, but it's the same approach. We'll ride the hot hand and we'll have multiple guys ready and We got to do everything we can to win a ball game and worry about Saturday when we get there.
Woodchick and his champion Chargers are getting ready for the state semifinals in big board sports. The Bernie champion baseball team is still practicing in June, and that's a very good thing. The Chargers are getting ready to face Argyle in the UIL Class 5A state semifinals this week. Champion is heading to the UIL state tournament for the first time in program history, and they had the rally in the Class 5A regional final against Leander Rouse on Friday and Saturday to do so, winning back-to-back elimination games after dropping the first one. Now, the Chargers are working hard to get ready to show out at Dale Diamond.
It's very exciting, you know. I've dreamt of this day since I was born, pretty much. Having my family go to Round Rock as well. It's very special, especially for all of us too, because we all know we had one goal in mind since March 1st. Coming out here, battling, and coming out here and going to Dale Diamond, so it's very exciting.
You know, we attack every week the same. We just look forward to this game. We're excited, we're ready. We put in the work. We believe we believe in what we've done. We believe in each other. We're excited. Show everyone what we got.
It's very exciting. You know, it's the first time in school history, so you know we're just kind of taking it day by day. You know, just living in the moment and just gonna grind and get ready for the next round.
It's just back to work again. We're loving it. You know, practice on Monday is a really cool deal in June, and we've been having a lot of fun at practice. So I think we're bringing some energy and doing some things a little different than we do during the regular season. But the kids are loving it and can't wait to get up to Round Rock.
And here's the matchup, 34-10 Argyle versus 33-11 Bernie champion, Thursday night at 7 at Dale Diamond in Round Rock. The winner will advance to the 5A state final on Saturday. After 4 seasons at Jefferson High School, girls basketball coach Natasha Benavides is leaving for the O'Connell Panthers to take over that basketball program. During her time at Jeff, Natasha led the Mustangs to 2 district titles, including their first one ever and the first 2 playoff appearances in program history, as well as their first by-district crown. We recently spoke with coach to talk about the move, and we asked what mark did she leave behind at Jefferson.
I just hope that I helped build a foundation and that, you know, the kids will continue to succeed and be successful. That's all I, you know, hope for.
Was it a difficult decision to make this jump to O'Connor?
It wasn't an easy decision. You know, I love the community, the kids, the environment. I just felt like it was what was best for me to grow professionally, and it was a great opportunity to challenge myself and help me grow. This summer I just want to work on building a relationship with my kids, getting to know them, their goals, and you know, just start working so we can have a successful season.
Coach said she is always available for her players and she wants to help them in any way that she can.
And I think she was a little modest there. I mean, she left a mark.
She really did.
On that team and that school.
And, you know, and she'll tell us all the time, though, she really doesn't like doing interviews, but she does it. She's like, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to.
She's not going to say it, so we'll say it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Larry. KSAT Explains is coming up next.
We got some late breaking news just into the KSAT 12 newsroom. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says it has filed a criminal case with the District Attorney's Office regarding those immigrant flights chartered by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis last year. The Sheriff's Office says there would be several counts of unlawful restraint, both misdemeanor and felony cases. We first told you about these flights last September, where 49 migrants were flown out of San Antonio, ultimately ending up at Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. Not clear if Governor DeSantis will be charged. The Sheriff's Office says it is not naming any suspects at this point, but an update could come once the DA reviews the case. It's now in his office.
We want to get you an update, Adam, now because we've got a new weather warning out there.
Yeah, severe thunderstorm warning. This is for a part of the storm moving away from the city of Gonzales and just hitting Smiley right now. Every so often these storms will pulse up for a brief period of time, and that's what we're seeing with this. This is primarily large hail within this purple and black area, crossing over 87, headed to the southwest. I can give you a timeline on some of the locations that'll be affected by this. Let's see here, draw this on. And there you have it. Making it to Harmony at 7:15 p.m. Pavlikville at 7:27, Santa Maria at 7:36. And that's that hail portion of the thunderstorm. A really quick look so you can see what I'm talking about in terms of just the hail. This is our 3D view, and this gives you that storm structure. You can see the storm structure here. And once I switch it over, we're going to look just at where there's hail that's pulsed up within this storm. Here is the hail that we're just looking at. That's stretching up to about 40,000 feet high. This hail core within the thunderstorm. And that's the part that's just moving between Nixon and Smiley right now. But that's the large damaging portion of this storm. You could have hail 1.5 inches in diameter in this area, all because of that hail core that popped up. One smaller hail core as well, just to the southeast of it, but that's about it. When you just look at the hail, that's all we have out there right near Smiley, and that's headed into, basically headed southwest into right along the line of Wilson and Karnes County. So we'll keep tracking this. We'll give you another update in a few minutes.
Today is the deadline, the day the U.S. Treasury Secretary said the federal government would have run out of money to pay its bills.
But lawmakers reached a deal on the debt ceiling late last week that suspends it until 2025. It was sitting at $31.4 trillion. So where did the idea, let alone the implementation of a debt ceiling, come from? Here's KSAT explains.
It doesn't sound like a complicated question.
What's the debt limit?
But the debate in Washington certainly has been. The debt ceiling
essentially tells the federal government you can only spend so much money.
The point at which the government can no longer increase the deficit, issue bonds.
It is the theoretical limit beyond which Congress can't and the president can't spend money.
Wait, did he just say theoretical?
Theoretical limit.
It came as a result of World War I, and if you can believe it, Liberty bonds, and the fear that the federal government was going to go into debt somehow.
The U.S. federal government created the debt ceiling as a way to pay for U.S. involvement in that war, and it's been around ever since.
Of the G7, the top 7 economies in the world, none of them but us have a debt ceiling.
It's a ceiling lawmakers came up with, and one which they have the power to raise.
Well, the spending limits are imposed by Congress, which has the power of the purse, if you will.
But there's a difference in how much money can be spent versus how much debt the U.S. can take on. The debt ceiling is a limit on how much money the federal government can borrow to pay for spending that's already happened. It's money already out the door. The debt ceiling is not necessarily a cap on spending. How much money can be spent, or rather is earmarked to be spent, and on what, takes shape in the annual federal budget.
Discussion with regard to debt limits versus the budget should be decoupled.
Which has helped contribute to the argument, why have a debt ceiling?
There's a fear that, if we got rid of it, we'd have just profligacy in spending. We already have profligacy in spending. Debt ceiling or no debt ceiling, debt limits or no debt limits, spending limits, which we used to have, by the way, at one point in the 1980s under what was called Graham-Rudman-Hollings. That one went away in the 1990s. And so there's not like we have these spending limits that are in place.
The reality is we do have a debt ceiling, and Congress has raised, extended, or revised it 78 times since 1960. In case you're curious, that's 49 times under Republican presidents and 29 times under Democratic presidents. Changing the debt ceiling is one thing, but surpassing it is another. Government shutdowns have become somewhat common over the years, and that's what some people might think of when hearing lawmakers warn of debt ceiling repercussions. But they're not the same. Here's why. The U.S. government must have its annual budget in place by September 30th every year. If they don't, the government can keep operating at about 95% of current spending.
Or you end up with an impasse where for, say, a week or 10 days, they don't have that budget in place for the next year. There's not the money there. You start shutting down non-essential services in government.
Busting through the debt ceiling is different. It means the U.S. would default on a payment.
The effect would be immediate. There are 11 interest payments due starting May 30th through the end of June. And if any one of those gets missed, then Treasury bonds, bills, notes automatically get a one-notch downgrade. So it's no longer AAA, top rated. And that means the cost of borrowing goes up.
That means the cost of borrowing money goes up for a house, for a loan. Now, if you're thinking, I've missed a debt payment every once in a while, well. And
even if we miss one payment, we're looking at probably 500,000 jobs lost and millions if it goes on for any length of time.
And to say that somehow government operates like you and I do, last time I checked, you and I don't have nuclear weapons or can send people to Mars.
Defaulting on U.S. debt could also mean halting Social Security payments and military salaries, even a recession.
There is no specific grant to the President of the United States in the Constitution of the ability to borrow money or incur a debt.
But there is a provision in the 14th Amendment, and President Biden has suggested using it. In so many words, it says the federal government's debt can't be questioned and must be paid.
So there is some thought that the president could use that and say you can't question the debt, and so therefore we're going to go ahead and keep borrowing money because we've already decided we're going to spend money on these items.
That part of the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted by the Supreme Court before.
You can't just call up the Supreme Court and ask them for their interpretation. They don't give advisory opinions.
So it would take a legal challenge, which almost and a long legal fight would follow at a time when federal bills are piling up.
So I think it would create a constitutional crisis, an economic crisis, and we're stuck with trying to figure out what Congress is going to do in the meantime.
And they got that deal done at the end of last week. We want to know what you want to see explained. Scan this QR code to take you to the KSAT Explains page. That's where you can find all the stories we've done and a place to submit your own Explains ideas. We'll be right back.